Okay, I think we're
Seems
live.
live now. Good morning. Good
Hey, what's
morning.
up? Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, sir. Wednesday that everybody thinks is Tuesday.
Yeah, I did think it was Tuesday for a second. I had to step back. I can only stay on for about 5 or 10 minutes this morning because I got to go take the kids to open house. But
Ooh, fun stuff.
it's good to see you. What's going on in California?
Not too much. Um, Hanging out. I got a busy morning. I got some of my out of town clients. They need some HVAC leak tracing work, and I got to move their cars out of the garage and find parking for them on a very difficult street. So, and they're like really high end cars, so I'm a little afraid of that.
Can you drive stick?
Yeah,
I can't.
I don't think that they're stick, but yes. But yeah, I learned on a stick, and I think I've had two different vehicles that were stick shifts,
Are you
and
going to
then
teach your
switched.
kids how to drive stick shift?
I mean, I would love to. I just don't know if that like makes sense because unless you actually get them a stick shift car, like, and I would have to get one myself in order to teach them. So like,
Yeah.
I just don't know if if it really makes sense as like a life skill, you know? Like, I'd rather teach them how to change a tire and change a set of brakes, change the oil than stick shift car. So
Well, I'm 37. I'm doing okay.
yeah, right.
Yeah. Ryan, can you drive stick shift?
Can I learned stick. Why? Who's driving? I can't. Can I get myself centered here? I don't think I can.
Uh,
Why? Who is anyone not able to?
I can't.
Blaze says he can't. And then he was asking if I was going to teach my daughter.
Does anyone buy a stick shift anymore though? Like I just
That's
don't. Like
that's kind of what I was saying too. Well, I mean, you were saying the other day that you don't even drive because just live in New York and walk and bike everywhere.
yeah, I mean the only times we're really driving is when we kind of get out of town. That's really the most. So although I do drive at least once a week to the food store just because there's a parking lot and then yeah, it's just easier. So that's that. Why are we talking about driving? We got any updates on new licenses?
No. Um,
It's just the way Blaze's mind goes in the morning.
where? How do we even get there? Oh, we were talking. Oh, okay. Because Dom is helping some people move some cars around, and I asked if
Yeah.
they were sick, and that's how. And then it's the Daily Dad. So I was just curious. People in the chat, we'd love to hear. Can you drive stick? Are you going to teach your kids to drive stick? I mean, I don't think any Teslas are stick, so I mean they could be. What do I know?
Nath says Nath might have the answer to a problem that you've discussed before. He said a man that can't drive a manual is like a man that can't grow a beard.
Oh, come on! I can't do either of those things.
No, but I'm saying maybe that's the reason. Maybe if you would have learned to drive a stick, you could have learned to grow a beard too.
Now I'm like, I feel personally attacked. And me and Nate we're growing a strong relationship. He pulled me some awesome cards last night. Messi and an epic. I don't know what's the
he's
1 of 5 of those epic.
Yeah.
no, the 1 of 5 is very rare, or those insert cards. Epic's 1 of 2.
What's the 1 of 25s? What is that called?
Oh yes, sorry. In season 2, that's 1 of 25. But you're right.
Okay, so I pulled in CGC9 epic Ernest Irvine.
Sweet,
Oh, nice.
sweet. And he's gonna send you boatloads of Tim Tams for the kids.
Maybe you never know. I'll sell them to you. Just kidding. Jay, what's up? I
What's
have
up?
to go take my kids to open house, but I just wanted to say for gratitude, I took my son on a nature walk last night in the woods. Just me and him. And A, it was awesome just hanging out, just me and him. And B, just being out in nature. So I was looking for Josh. Josh, we love you. Because I know you said you're outside. But anyways, everybody have a good day. And my takeaways from today are: don't let your kids turn into cement.
Turn into cement. Oh,
Love you.
All right, later, Gators.
bye, Blaze. Have a good day.
What's going on? I see a little Dexter situation happening over there. What's with the glove? What are you doing?
My doctor's appointment was canceled, so gotta take care of things myself over here.
We're getting to that
early
age,
morning flex, guys. Woke up, got to get some studio time in. Finishing a doggy here. Woke up pretty motivated this morning. It was my weekly full night of sleep, so doing some work here, trying to finish something up for a client. Shit. Everybody's awake right now. It's like it was really calm like 15 minutes ago, and everybody's awake and milling around. So, yeah. Good morning.
You just have once a week good night sleep.
The past like 3 weeks, I've had like one night of good sleep.
Oh man.
Today is a win, but
Nice.
yesterday I was telling Ryan before I woke. Our Labor Day weekend was full of like weird naps, and it like totally messed up my sleep schedule. Yesterday, or the day before that, I got 2 hours of sleep at night. This has become like an issue in my life the past 2 weeks. I slept for 2 nights, 2 hours the night before that. Woke up at 4:30, super hyped, got a full workout in. It was great all day, and then crashed. It's not sustainable, folks. This is not sustainable.
No.
Don't do it.
Do you think it's
think
something you want to actively change?
Yes, I need to go to bed on time again. It was like ever since the school year started, it's kind of been up in the air. So I'm navigating it with a sense of humor and also with a sense of worry for my health, but I'm in a good mood about it. So currently trying to fix it.
Nice. Is there? Wait, hold on. I don't want to let that go. Is there an active thing you're gonna do to get to sleep earlier?
Yeah, I just have to lay down instead of doing things. You ever I don't know what you guys do when your kids go to bed. It's like it's almost like I'm like doing purposeful procrastination. Like I have things to do, but I'm like, you know what? I just gotta sit and think these things that I gotta do tomorrow or I did today. And I'm just staying up, watch a movie or something, and then maybe I'll be down here working. But it's gotta change. I've done it before. This is a cycle. It happens every few months. It's kind of like waves. It's like surfing. It's like I'm just kind of waiting for the next wave of sweet, sweet sleep.
It's coming.
Yeah.
I know that I was Dom. Was it here that we talked about habits? Was that the first month that we did this? And I forget where I saw it, but it was a reminder that we're so on top of trying to like show our kids what to do, be kind to people, eat well, move our body. But the one thing that we do, a lot of people, is like we put our kid to sleep and say, you got to go to sleep. You got to go to sleep. But then our kids, they see us going into the, living room to turn on Netflix and stay up. And then, maybe someone is snacking late and then it becomes something that is not a good habit. Someone reminded me of that. And I was like, oh yeah, if we don't show them what it means to go to bed ourselves, like, why are they going to go to bed? So I remember thinking about that, and that had changed something in my head. So thought it was a good thought.
Yeah, that's one of the points. I think it's tomorrow's reading or the next days after that talks about like when do your kids catch you doing those positive things? Like do your kids catch you reading? Last night you caught me reading and I was like, yes. But
I feel like I just because we're talking about reading this month, right? I feel like I've been. I feel like, and I'm almost embarrassed to say this. I feel like I've sat there with a book and pretending to read it so that they would see me, and knowing that they were going to come in the room in a second, be like, no, hold it up, make sure they see it. Oh, welcome. I see. Okay, well, I'm reading. Do you want to read? But I feel like you have to do that kind of thing. I don't know. It just makes me feel silly because then there's also been times where like they haven't. So I'm like holding it there for like 35 minutes, and I'm like, all right, I should just have read. So I don't know. But Dom's a good reader. I'm not a great reader. So
Yeah, I'm envious of good readers. I like to make it a habit.
100%.
I'm all right. I'm all right.
Kristen's a good reader. She has like a stack of books that she tends to frequently.
Yeah. Dom, did you guys jump into gratitude?
No, there's some in the chat though. We got Nathan here. Very mixed day and hard to harness gratitude, but having my eldest home from his first camp away. And then Craig is grateful for his strong children who have the strength to get through even the hardest days. But yeah, we haven't done it. I think Blaze, no. I'm grateful that I can drive a manual and grow a beard.
Man, some burns this morning. Jason, what was your gratitude? Sleep?
We had a pretty sweet outside day on Monday. Got up to the mountains. We had like a party or a barbecue that we had to go to, and like I like being social, but I think like the day before that we had some people over, so my social battery was kind of drained.
Yeah,
it was like, screw it, we're going outside.
Nice.
So I was like, we have to do a Colorado thing. It's like we went to up into the mountains to a place that me and Kristen hadn't been since we had kids. And I was really grateful for that time. All my kids can walk finally. We don't have to give them piggyback rides through the trail, and that was cool. We saw a moose from a safe distance away, and in the wild, it was a mama moose and a baby. So
Yeah.
it could be dangerous.
Yeah.
But it was cool. So thankful for family time today.
Awesome.
Nice.
I like that. I think what did someone say one time? It's like when you hate the world, go to sleep. When you think the world hates you, go work out. I don't know, something like that. And it's like I don't know. There's like a whole thing about like, if this is your thought, go eat. If this is your thought, go outside. If this is your thought, go to sleep. If this is your thought, go work out. Something like that is always pretty good. But I thought about that a bunch, and that kind of makes me think what you just did. Before I share my gratitude, we got Anne back in the chat, which is so great. I was texting with her yesterday. Great. Two great podcasts recently on VFAM sessions with Brofit and Anne. So those, I don't know if you guys listened to those, but those are pretty awesome. Brofit says here his gratitude is his wife's off for 4 days. His wife's a firefighter, so she has that time off right now. He is grateful for this group of men and the foam roller. I don't like foam rollers. Can I just say that? I just can't use a foam roller well. I think I'm weak. I don't know what it is, but I'm still alive and my body works. So I think I'm okay. Maybe I just need Brofit to teach me how to use a foam roller appropriately. And coffee, yeah. Caffeine is a friend because we don't all love coffee. We get it. Okay, Dom? We don't all want to drink coffee. That makes sense.
I love coffee. It brings you guys all happiness. And without it, my wife would probably strangle me. So it's definitely got a part of my life.
I'm going to say I'm grateful. We have school starting tomorrow over here in New York. So my girls are excited. So I'm excited for them. And my daughter's poured yogurt all over herself this morning as I was walking out the door. And I had to throw her in the bath. I don't know. That's just on my mind right now. But anyway. And then before we jump in over here, Anne's gratitude, grateful that we got exactly the teacher I was hoping for. That's always exciting. Anne shared in her VFAM sessions conversation with Rob that in Germany, your teacher follows you through school.
Yeah,
Am I correct?
Crazy.
And
Yep.
I thought that was really interesting. I'm sure there's some nuance within that, but I thought it was really interesting to kind of hear how that relationship probably changes. But yeah, I think that when we have a kid and we know how our kid works, how their brain works, and knowing where they're at, I think it's really cool. And then, the teacher's super kind. Real sunshine teacher, exactly what Emma needs. So great stuff. First day of school today. Oh, nice. Awesome. All right. Talk about learning. Dom, what do we have to do with our kids here? What's happening on September 4th?
Teach them early while you still can. I mean, like I had said yesterday, this is going to be a month of like reminders of my own failures. You know, not learning what I needed to learn earlier so that I can teach them earlier. Feel like I'm in certain aspects, stuff like this, I'm behind with my kids. You know, and that's why I'm reading the books that I'm reading. Like I told you the other day, like I'm reading this book, The Gift of Failure, and it, you know, there is a lot of it that's reassuring where it's like, you know, it's never, you know, and I even have my own life story of the, you know, you're never too young or you're never too old. This is the same. You're never too old to learn, and you're never too old to, you know, change habits. It's just gonna be a little bit harder. And it was the same with me. Like, you know, I picked it up very late, and it was difficult, but I got it. So, and then the other thing that I learned in the book is, you know, starting off by just telling them, you know, one of my failures, like I feel like I failed you guys by, you know, not instilling a better, you know, learning ethic or ethos in your life, and getting books more in, being more involved in books and reading and studying. I mean, they learn, like I said before, they learn, but just not, I don't think they learn. I don't think they learn as much as they could if books weren't as prominent. Like they can learn stuff via YouTube, but it's so easy to get distracted into the next thing. And so like they may go into it saying like, I'm going to learn off this YouTube video, and then the next video is like, you know, a squirrel eating a pigeon's head, and they get distracted. So lots to unpack always, but you know.
Yeah, that video, that was intense. You were not joking. That was right out of some kind of.
It was scarier than a moose and a mama moose and a baby moose.
Yeah.
It was just surprising, I think is what it was. So
yeah,
Don,
slightly surprising.
Don, that was a lot of a takeaway from what I would deem as a pretty short reading today, which I thought was pretty good. I feel like you what I kept catching, you kept saying failure in your what you were saying. You feel like you failed?
So the book I'm reading is called The Gift of Failure.
Yeah.
So it's a lot to do with changing, like part of it's to do with changing the stigma of the word failure to like not be the worst thing in the, you know, like you learn from your failures, you learn from your mistakes. Like you need to, like every failure that's ever happened in my life has taught me something or taking me to a different place. Like I think that, like, you know, I told you guys I went to college to be a pilot. If I had been a pilot, I wouldn't, you know, it's like that thing where you said, like, if I would have actually succeeded, I wouldn't be here today with you guys. I maybe wouldn't have met my wife, the 3 kids, you know, like that's that whole theory of like the butterfly effect. So it's not a bad thing. Like it's just another challenge that I have to deal with.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
It's just that word's on my mind is all. Yeah, I did say it a lot. I agree.
Yeah, no, it's good. I've always wanted to. Have you ever heard those stories about how someone goes out and they go out looking for failure? I think the story I always think about is when someone was trying to, basically raise enough money for, I think, one of their new businesses. but they had to ask a bunch of investors, and they knew they were going to get some no's, and they wanted to make sure they were going to, not be overwhelmed when they heard the word no. So they went out and they had the goal of like getting 100 no's for things. And they would go ask like ridiculous things. Like they would go to like a fast food restaurant and they would ask for like, 1,000 packets of ketchup. And then someone says like, well, no, I can't give that to you. Okay, got it. Well, at least I asked. And then there was a guy doing this, and it was around the time of the Olympics. This was like years ago. You can look this up. There's like a video on this. But he went in, I think he went into a Krispy Kreme, and he asked if they could make a Krispy Kreme, if they can make Krispy Kreme donuts, but in the shape of the Olympic rings and color them. And the guy's like, it's so ridiculous. They're not going to say yes. And I think he asked someone behind the counter, and they're like, wait, let me go ask my manager. And apparently they figured it out and they did it for him. But, he talks about that being a lesson in itself, just to be like, I was ready for a no, but they said yes. And if anything, it was a lesson of customer service and how they wanted to make sure they were going to make me happy. But I've always wanted to, and I guess it's so simple, like, why am I not doing it? But to go out and get no's and fail and just the failures. And I always like the idea of asking like my girls, like, what did you fail at today? They tend not to like that question. But I think it's definitely what you're talking about, and teaching failure as this. And while they're still impressionable, we know Gary says this, we know we know that we want to make sure that kids don't always think they're going to win, that they're always going to get what they want. So I think what the reading today is kind of getting at here is just like, while they're still young, while they're still impressionable, we do need to get to them, right? We need to push past their reservations. As I paraphrase here, of course, they're going to want to play video games. Of course, they're going to goof off. Of course, they're going to, want to do other things, but like now is the time to do that. And so if anything, can we teach them failure? I think it's probably one of the best lessons. And we can always talk about manners and all the good stuff. But, I think failure is a huge one. So thanks for bringing that up, Dom.
Best way I heard failure described, I already put in the chat, is the first attempt in learning. We're talking about habits before, and fixing what you perceive as your failures. And Tom, I agree with you. I feel like in the past few years, I've gotten much better at welcoming failure instead of getting frustrated with it, especially like with habits and stuff. Like this little wave of like sleep right here. Some mornings it feels like a failure. It's like, you wake up with your intention and then you don't hit it, and it just kind of echoes through the day. But I've been able to adopt the mindset that it's like, you know what, today might be a part of failure, but we can try this again tomorrow. And sometimes I don't know if it's like blind optimism, but it's like I've never felt like I've failed so bad that I can't do something again. And that's something that I think is important that kids know, and especially in school. Like when I'm in school with my students, it's like that's something I push really hard in art classes. Like even for kids that don't really think that they're good artists, or they're just there because like that's what their schedule placed. It's like the art is like the last thing that we talk about. Failing at something, that's something that I like to push hard. It's like, yeah, you're gonna do this once. This might be your first time doing it. It's probably gonna look terrible or not like the way you want. But we try again tomorrow. So I don't think failure is ever definite.
You must see failure all the time with those kids. I feel like art probably feels like failure, but aren't you kind of like seeking out failure in a way?
Yeah. You push them until they almost break, and then you back off a bit. You show them the rules, and then you show them how to break the rules. And that's when it gets fun. That's when they start enjoying it.
Nice. I think it's a good lesson. Keep bringing those up.
Is there wrestling in your house on or something?
Oh no, I'm at work right now, so there's a class going on.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I didn't know you guys could hear it so much.
A little bit. So the reading, I went back and forth on the reading. Ultimately, I think it's a good point. And I totally left the book upstairs, and I don't want to go walk in and wake up Kristen right now. So yeah, I think it's important to like teach kids young, and I'm trying to remember the point it brought up about giving them.
All right.
That's so loud.
I thought he was eating a nut. Oh, he was eating a bird. He was eating a bird. Pause that. All right, sorry guys.
Gosh.
I was just testing something. I didn't know how to present stuff, so I just.
Should I stop talking, Ryan? Was that your hint?
Shut up, bro.
That was my failure. I feel like whenever we have to cut someone off, instead of the hook and pull them off stage, we'll play the zombie squirrel.
That's like the Rickroll for the Daily Dads.
Sorry, that wasn't my goal. Sorry about that.
So here's the one point that I don't think the reading brought up is that you teach them young to to do the things that we think are right. But at what point do we? Because like one thing we teach them to do or want them to do is to question things. And I think towards the end of the reading, it was bringing up, you don't want them to do the things you don't want them to do, but then, questioning things and challenging and pushing back, that's also a skill too, right? So at what point do we transition from, and it's probably teenage years, specifically 11 right now, because I'm right into it, is, you spend that first 10 years teaching your kids something, and then they start pushing back. It's like, they finally have grown that brain where they start questioning the things that maybe that you've been trying to teach them, whether it's habits or manners or whatever. And I think there's got to be some room for that. You have to give them room to challenge what you've taught them, because I don't know if anybody's gone to Catholic school, but I guess the one metaphor that I've always heard is, if you want a kid to not grow up religious or something, send them to Christian school, because they'll drop out and they'll totally repent or something like that. No offense to anybody who went to Christian schools or Catholic schools, but it's like at some point kids are going to push back against what you've been teaching them, which is important. That's how they learn. That's how they grow. And also my last thing is I'm going to challenge the cement metaphor. I would rather that be clay. Cement eventually dries, and when you dry out, you die. So you got to be like a moist ball of clay and be able to sometimes change forms when you need to.
Yeah, I think, and this is, I think I always talk about seasons with people. I'm like, it's just a season, and you're gonna have we're gonna change. I always question people who think that it's like, well, I've always been this way, so why can't you accept me? It's like, well, we're all changing. And to assume that you're the same way that you were in high school that you are now as a parent, it's completely different. So, I agree with you. It's 9:02. I have to jump over to a client myself. But guys, any last thoughts right now?
Get your sleep, y'all.
Nice.
And get some more sleep for Jason.
All right, guys. Well, we love you. We hope your mugs stay filled with coffee or just caffeine, any kind of caffeine whatsoever. And your heart's in gratitude, guys. We will see you tomorrow morning. We love you, and we'll talk to you soon.
See you guys.